I'm gonna will myself not to cry in this episode. Hey, it's Romania Black. We're on the series finale of Modao Zushi. It's kind of hard to believe. I started watching the Donghua back in December, late December of 2020, and it's October of 2021. So it's almost been a year watching week to week of Modao Zushi of the Donghua, which is crazy. And I took a little bit of a break over the summer because we were waiting on season 3 to come out, and so I watched all of Modao Zushi Q, and then I started on the novel and the audio drama, and I got 6 parts in, and then the Donghua came back. And so it's been such a journey, and I'm not sad yet because the journey's not over. Even though the Donghua is ending, and I am very bittersweet about that, I still have the novel to read. I still have the audio drama and the manhwa to look through. And I know the manhwa is ongoing, so I may not get to the end of the manhwa by the time I catch up with the novel and the audio drama. And I have the Untamed to watch. So I have so much more Modao Zushi content that I'm not necessarily sad. When I get to the end of the novel, that's going to be a different story. But I'm not, it's weird. I'm not sad because I know there's so much more Modao Zushi to go. It's crazy to me that I'm probably not going to get finished with Modao Zushi until next year. So that means it will have been over a year of delving into this series, which I've really come to love. But so I'm not sad about that, but I am sad that the Donghua is ending. I'm definitely going to be going back and rewatching this series a lot because I absolutely love it. Wangshin, Wushin and Wanji, such an OTP. Ash and Eiji from Banana Fish may be my biggest OTP, but this one's right up there with them because I can't picture anybody else with Wanji or Wushin. They're made for each other. They're perfect. They're soulmates. They're the definition of soulmates. It's just, and we've come so far. from episode 1, I remember watching this and going, oh my gosh, I'm in over my head, and y'all were really kind with giving me character sheets and helping me. You all have been really amazing with giving me information without spoiling me, and I think that's very hard to do because usually when people give out information for a show, it's full of spoilers, but y'all have just been explaining what characters mean and what the structure is like, because this was the first Chinese animation I've ever delved into. I have never heard Chinese voice actors before. I've never seen Chinese animation before. This was my first genre into it. And now I'm falling in love with it, with the genre. So I'm like, I really want to watch more. And I'm hoping to incorporate more Donghua into the channel as as time goes on. This Monday slot is definitely going to be MXTX content for a long time because I want to get into her other series. I want to get into Heaven Official's Blessing and Scum Villain Self-Saving System. I want to get into those 2 stories too. I don't feel like, I know that Heaven Official's Blessing is huge, but there's the novel and there's the show. I don't feel like there's as many adaptations as Modao Zushi has. And then Scum Villain, I think there's just the novel and the Donghua. So I'm going to get more into her works, and that's really exciting to me because I really have come to like this medium a lot. But Modao Zushi, I think no matter what work I read of hers, this one's always going to have a special place in my heart because it was the first one that I watched. And her storytelling, her character development, I cannot stress enough. I know I've told y'all over and over again, I can't wait to get into the novel and the audio drama, especially the audio drama. The audio drama is so good. But yeah. So this is the final episode. It's 26 minutes, so it's a little bit longer. Yay. I have no clue what's going to happen because we wrapped up everything with Yao and Hui Sang and Sushi last episode. We pretty much wrapped everything up. So I don't know what else you're going to cram into 26 minutes. I'm hoping, obviously for Wangshin content, obviously. But I'm hoping that Chang and Wushin get some time to talk because this whole series, from the past, we've seen how close they were as brothers, and then we know that something's happened with Wushin that obviously drove them apart, and then Chang has been so bitter, and I just want I want our sour grape to get back together with his brother and for them to reconcile. It seems like Baby Ling probably knows enough now that he can reconcile with Wushin too. I just want Wushin to be an uncle for Ling, I want him to be a brother for Chang, and I want him to be a husband for Wanji. I don't think that's much to ask. So, I'm so excited, but I have no clue what to expect. But this morning I was like, okay, I took my time getting ready because I was like, okay, once I sit down, I'm like, and I'm watching one of my parents' dogs, so I hope they don't bark a lot. I'm like, oh God. But y'all, it has been a journey, and the journey's not over. We still have the novel, the manhwa, the audio drama to go through, and I'm going to be starting the Untamed. So I'm really excited. So the journey's not over yet with Modao Zushi. We still have a lot more content to go to. It's just this one part is ending, and it's the first part that's ending of the Modao Zushi journey, and that's sad. But I'm going to will myself not to cry. No. Because it's bittersweet, but it's not sad. Right? Right? So in any case, I've talked enough. Let's get into this, shall we? We are going to start episode 13, or episode 12 rather, sorry, of season 3 of Modao Zushi. And we're going to start that here in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. I don't care what the Chinese government says. There's no heterosexual explanation for any of that. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, my heart. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. That was a series finale. That was the end of the series. And the thing about it is, the two things about it. One, I know the novel is going to go into so much more detail with all those ending notes, with Chang, with the whole explanation, the Golden Core. Oh my god, we got to talk about that. With all that, with Sijui, with Ning, with them going off. Like, I know we're going to have more explanation for it, and I'm ready for it. But God, it's so bittersweet because you find out that Chang went into isolation after everything. They went into seclusion and left Baby Ling with the Clarity Bell, and left Baby Ling in charge, I guess, of the Zhang clan. It's like, dude, God. The only thing I'm sad about is that we didn't really see any closure with Ling and Wuxian, but I'm hoping the novel will expand more on that. I'm guessing it will. They just didn't have time because they went through so much in this episode. But oh my god, yeah. The part at the end where Wuxian's like, where it shows Wuxian and Wanji, and he's like, his parents. I want to go back to that still and see his parents, but it's like he's like, all we need is a little one. And it's like, but you read Sishui, and it's just, oh my god. The comparison of the start of this series to the final episode, there's such a difference between those two, and how peaceful everything ends with Wuxian and Wanji. They get their happy. It's bittersweet because they get their happy ever after, but at what cost? Because it clearly has affected the others. And Huisang just coming in like, now I'm going to get to be. I'm assuming he's going to end up being the clan leader, which is hilarious considering where he started from. But oh my gosh, this episode. I did not expect Chang to go off like he did. I did not expect that. But it's so in character. It's so in character for him. It makes so much sense for him to do that. But oh my god, like it makes all the sense. I'm trying to go back to it now. Oh my god. But I didn't expect Chang to go off like he did. The animation in this episode, the animation of the facial expressions, Chang with his beautiful hair down. Like, I love Chang with his hair down. He looks a lot like his dad with his hair down. He looks a lot like Feng Mian with his hair down, funny enough. But his hair down, the eyes, the animation on the expressions. There's some shots of Wanji in this that I'm probably going to put on Twitter, but the shots of defensive Wanji where he's like, leave my husband alone, brother-in-law, how dare you? Like, there's some shots that Wanji gave him that was like, dude, but return to seclusion. So the idea that not only Wanji and Wuxian are going into seclusion, but Chang as well. Chang going into seclusion, because I mean, he's got a lot to process and deal with. But way back in season 1, I was like, Wuxian gave him his golden core. That's what I was like, that's how it all makes sense, that the demonic cultivation, how it all it came inside of him. There was no golden core back when they were facing the winds. Like, it all made sense. And the funny thing is that I was like suspecting it way back then, way back in season 1. But the funny thing is I suspected it way back then, but at the same time I was like, well, and season 2 is almost a distraction. Season 2 makes you forget about the whole golden core thing. So I feel like you could figure it out in season 1 that, okay, Wuxian gave Chang his golden core. That makes sense. And then he sent him up to the mountain because he didn't want to tell him at that time. He didn't want to tell him. And it makes sense that that's why Wuxian was resting at the base of the mountain, because I didn't realize that he'd spent days trying to give him the golden core. I didn't realize it spent like days of excruciating pain to do it. Oh my gosh, and that adds a whole nother layer with King and Ning. That adds a whole nother layer with them. Oh my gosh, and their whole part in all of this, because they knew that Wuxian did it. And so when Chang came to visit, that adds a whole nother layer to it. Oh my God. But yeah, it all makes sense. And then season 2 is almost a distraction to make you forget about it. It's like all the stuff of season 2 happens, and then season 3 comes along, so you just kind of forget about it. And then when Ning starts bringing it back up, I hadn't even thought of Chang being able to open the sword because he has Wuxian's core. I hadn't even thought of that. So my question is, how did Wuxian and Mo Jianyu's body open up the sword? I guess because it's Mo Jianyu. Mo Jianyu had a golden core. So I guess it's because of that and the fact that it was Wei Wuxian's soul inside of him. So I guess because Wei Wuxian had the soul now in Mo Jianyu's body, because it's his soul, and Mo Jianyu had a golden core, he could get the sword open. So it's like the only ones that can use whatever are him and Chang. Oh my God. Yep. And that's why Wuxian didn't use a sword after that. That's why he had the flute and used demonic cultivation afterwards, because he didn't have the golden core to use the sword. It all makes sense. Y'all were hitting around at it, and it all makes sense now. I loved seeing Feng Mian and Madame Yu. It's been so long. Seeing Feng Mian and Madame Yu, their spirits there. And Chang looks like his father with his hair down, but his facial expressions are all his mother's. All his mother's. And I like that Wuxian says that, she was hateful, but when I think back about it, she never actually did anything to harm me. She was just resentful and jealous that Feng Mian seemed to like Wuxian a little bit more than her actual kids. And then Wanji and them doing the thing. It's like Wuxian brought his husband to the parents, like meet the parents. He's like, hey, he's like, I've come back to see you, and I've brought, my husband with me this time, so you can meet him too. And the shot of them together, but them all like with the little reeds. And I love that Wuxian's like, I've come back to you, Uncle Zhang and Madame Yu. I've come to disturb both of you again. But this time, I brought Lanzan along. It's like I brought my husband for y'all to meet. Isn't that great? Oh my gosh. And then, Chang showing up and being angry at them because, And then Wanji the whole time was on defense mode. He was like, excuse me? Excuse me, sir? How dare you? It's like, pay your respects. Oh. And he's like, you don't really take yourself as an outsider, do you? Bringing whomever you want to my parents and having him pay his respects to him. It's like, well, Wanji's not just... And when Wuxian says, whom are you calling whomever? That look, that lighting, he's like, excuse me, Wanji is like, you have poor memory indeed. He's like, Wanji is very important to me. Oh. And then, Chang saying, it's because you tried playing the hero. And the thing about it is that Chang is such a complicated character too, and I feel so bad for Chang because in this moment he's trying to justify his own feelings of guilt at when his own feelings that Wuxian left him and abandoned him, because he's like, we were going to be the twin heroes of Young Ming. We were going to be the twin heroes of the Lotus Pier, and you just left me and you ran off to go save this guy and go rescue the Winds, and because of your actions, because you went off to rescue this guy in the Winds, all my family died. So he's like, it's we were supposed to stay here and protect our people, and instead you left me and you went off and did this sort of thing, and look what happened because of it. And I love that they keep the clarity bell in shot the entire time. They keep the little clarity bell in shot, and he's like, you were falsely accused, you were wronged, but what about my sister? And he's like, if you hadn't practiced demonic cultivation, saved the Winds, then my sister and the others would have died. So Chang is at least acknowledging, he's like, I know you're not guilty entirely, and I know that you were falsely accused. He's like, but it doesn't change the fact that you still practice demonic cultivation and you still, and the part that is the craziest thing about this is that Wushin didn't have a choice but to practice demonic cultivation. It was, at the end of the day, Chang getting caught by the winds, it was Chang's lack of faith in Wushin, because Wushin told him to stay there and wait. And that shot where they're running in opposite directions, and it slowly, like, it's the cinematography in this episode was amazing, and it slowly like pans away, like them getting farther apart, and it slowly pans in. That was so good. But what it's establishing is the fact that because Chang didn't believe in Wushin in that moment, because he didn't wait on him, because he ran off to try to find him, he got caught by the winds, and they took his golden core. And because they did that it's like a series, because of Chang's action, because of his one action, he got his golden core taken away of. Wushin gave him his, and because of that, he couldn't do cultivation anymore. He had to rely on demonic cultivation. And because of that, everything else happened. Yanli's death, Zishuan's death. So really, at the heart of it, the fact of the matter is, it's kind of Chang's fault. And Chang doesn't realize that yet in the episode until Ning comes in. And Wanji's like, mind your words. Because Wanji kind of, I don't think Wanji knew what was going on with the golden core, but he's just like, you're being really rude to Wushin. And Chang's like, you're in my place. Why are you asking me to mind my words? You're barging into someone else's ancestral hall. Are those the pristine manager? And if you have any shame at all, and the look in his eyes, oh my God. And Wushin's like, and Wushin knows that he gave up his golden core, and he's trying to save he's trying to save face for Chang. And he's like, you're still a clan leader. Like, listen to what you're saying. Like, have some respect. And Chang at this point just wants to fight. And him just stalking towards them. That's such like him just stalking towards them like, Madam Yu, damn it. Her temper. But then, so yeah, the injury from Ling, it's all catching up to him. And that, when he looks over at them, oh my God, I can't. Like the expressions from Wushin, like how soft he is, and him seeing the blood on his hands. And that, seeing the blood on his hands, that's what causes Chang to stop. Because Chang, at the heart of it, even though he's mad and he thinks he wants to fight, in that split second, he just reverts to like, oh, my brother. And he gets worried about him. But then he sees Wushin take his hand, and like him holding his hand. And Wanji's like, okay, we'll leave. And then Chang, you can tell, is jealous of Wanji, that Wushin has given all his love to Wanji. And he's like, where's the love for your brother? Like, you've given it all to your husband, but what about your siblings? And he gets so mad. And then, thank God Ning showed up. Because Ning is like, hell nah, I can't take it. You can tell Ning's been sitting outside the entire time like a bodyguard, just waiting for if he was needed. And then he's like, okay, I'm going to be needed. Fine. But the reveal, the way it was handled, even if you had guessed it previously or saw it coming, the reveal, and then Wanji giving him the food. And it's Wanji's face looking so damn sad. Gah, I cannot. Him like looking so sad for him. And then Ning, he gives him Suibian. And he says to pull it out. And he won't leave until he does it. Oh, I love it. I love how he's just like forcing him. He's like, pull it out. And Chang's like, well, it's not gonna work. But then, and then the triple thing, it's like, yes! It's like, oh my God. And then, because he has Wushin's golden core, it's like part of his soul he gave to his brother. And him, like, his hand shaking, and the juxtaposition of the sword with the clarity bell. This episode, the imagery, the symbolism, the cinematography, it's all so damn good. It's all so damn good. And he's like, why? And he's like, because the sword recognized you as young Master Wushin. And Wanji's like, wait, what's going on? And so Wanji didn't know. And he's like, because the golden core inside your body is his. And then he says, lies, you're lying. And I love that tunnel vision. But, oh my God, this imagery. The imagery of Chang at the bottom of this pit and the light shining down on him and all the destruction around him. Like the destruction from the Lotus Pier surrounding him, and the Clarity Bell. It all ties back to the OP. The blue of the OP. I was wondering, I was like, why is the Clarity Bell's purple? Why do they show it in like the blue color? And it's just floating around here. It's from the OP, and it's from this moment. And he's like, no. He's like, it was Wanderer Baoshan that restored my golden core. And at first I was a little confused. Because of the deep voice, but it's Ning's voice that's been altered. And it's Ning talking to him. Ning is talking to Chang right now and explaining, but Chang is seeing it through this like tunnel vision and this destruction. And the animation, God, it's so good in this episode. The day you went up to the mountain, your eyes were covered by a white cloth. You were blinded. You held a branch in your hands, and you wandered in the mountains for a long time, and a woman stopped you from going any further. And then she asked who you were. And back then, Wuxian told him to tell her that it was you. And we see, I love the outline of Baoshan. How did you get here? And you replied, and he says, shut up. It says, you replied, you said you were Wei Ying, the son of the Wanderer Kongri. You said your golden core was crushed by Wen Zulu. Oh. And he's like, stop it. But, oh my gosh, did you really think it was a secluded area where Wanderer Baoshan lived? Oh. It was just a barren mountain in Yiling. You thought your golden core was restored. And then it all comes crashing down. But that was just the golden core my sister took from Master Wei. Yeah, so even if he ran into Baoshan or not, and gave it to you. Yeah. Even if that's the case, he already had it. So Ning's sister gave him Wuxian's golden core. She used that power to give it to him. Oh, I love that animation of the hand coming in with it. And gave it to you. Clan leader Zhang. Why do you think Master Wei has never used a sword since then? I love this animation. I could stare at this all day. Why did he have to practice demonic cultivation? Because he could never wield a sword again. He could never cultivate as others do ever again. Yeah. And I love it. The blue and the yellow all make sense now because the blue is Chang realizing all this and the yellow is the golden core. It's a nice imagery there too. And then he's all alone in that shot. Chang has been constantly alone in this series, and I feel really bad for him because he's constantly by himself and secluded. That's the one bittersweet aspect about the season finale is Chang being by himself. Because I want Chang to be with other people, and I want him to be with Wuxian and Wanji, and I think eventually he will. I think that they leave a little bit of hope at the end, like him going into seclusion is kind of like him just atoning and contemplating what to do. I think eventually, and I'll have to read the novel and the audio drama to know for sure, but I think eventually Ling will visit him and Wuxian and Wanji will visit him. I think eventually he'll turn around, especially now that he knows the truth. He just needs to be by himself for a while to process everything. And it's like, oh my God. And then it all comes back around. And he drops the sword. Yeah. And Ning picks it back up. Did you know what the chances were back then? So Ning and his sister were there when it all went down. It's like not even a 50% chance of success. But just for that slim chance. For 2 days and 2 nights. And Wanji's like, what? It's like for 2 days and 2 nights, the young Master Wei had to stay awake and endure extreme pain. Oh, and Wanji putting his hand on his face. I can't with this episode. Censors be damned. It's over. You've always been a prideful person. You spent your entire life competing against others. But did you know that you would never be able to surpass him? And it's like, yeah, it's like that selfless act that he did to save his brother. And Wuxian didn't want to tell him because he knew how proud he was. And he knew how much he wanted to compete with him. And that would have put Chang over the edge. The fact that he would have owed so much to Wuxian, he just didn't want to tell him. That makes everything in season 1 just like so much more painful because of everything that happened. Nope. And then, yeah, Wanji's like, well, we're going to leave now. And then Ning's like, he told me not to tell him, not to tell, but, And then Chang, he just can't let it go. And of course, Chang is like, should I kneel before you and thank you? And it's like, Chang, honey, he's like, that's enough. You just need some time alone to think about things. He says, my father said you were the only one who truly understood the teachings. Yeah, do the impossible. What does that make me? He's like, I was the successor. He's like, I couldn't live it up. He's like, what gives you the right? And it's like, And Wanji's like, don't say anything you're going to regret. And then, And then, oh man, and he goes towards them. He's like, every single time you sided with outsiders. But in the sense, though, he was an outsider with the Zhang clan, too. Wushin's always been an outsider. So it's kind of the same thing. He can't go without helping people. And then, And then, of course, it's very like Yao when Chang says, my father, my brother, my father, my mother, my sister, and Jin and Zishuan. He's like, should I not hate you? He's like, now I'm in the wrong. He's like, why should I have lived like a fool for all these years? And it's like, honey, Wushin didn't want you to. And Wanji at this point is like, why should I live in the shadows blinded by your light? And at that moment, yeah, he admits, he's like, you've always been this light. Why do I have to be blinded and be in the shadow of you? And I love Wanji just like, back up, bitch. And him like his hair, and the hat coming off. And all the red dragonflies from like Madame Yu and Feng Mian's conversation falling down. And Ning going with them. And Chang with the hair down. Oh my God. I can't. It's over. He looks so gorgeous. Oh my gosh, he looks so beautiful. And just all of it, like him collapsing. What gives you the right not to tell me all that? And at the very end of it, the truth comes out. He's like, you should have told me we were brothers. You should have trusted me. You said you'd be my subordinate when I became the clan leader. You said you would support me for your entire life. And you would never betray me. And you'd never betray the clan. And so, of course, he feels betrayed, but it's like, and he couldn't stay there. But he ran off anyway. And when he ran off, that's when he got caught. Chang. And it's like, at the end of the day, you both ran from each other. You both kind of betrayed each other. And that shot of the tear falling from him, and you see like his like entire face illuminated by it. And him crying. I feel so bad for Chang. I do. I feel so bad for him. And then when you find out that he went into seclusion, I feel bad for Ling too. I'm like, I hope that they at least get to see Wushin again and talk with him. I really hope they do. Because that's the one sad part about the series is we don't see it. I hope maybe the novel or audio drama expands on it. And then of course, Wanji, Wanji drinks the lotus wine and gets drunk. And Wanji's method of being drunk is he falls asleep first and then he has drunken antics. When Wushin made him smile, oh my God, it's almost nightmare fuel because we've not seen Wanji smile like that. So it's almost disturbing when he's like, me. And then Wanji takes him away and Ning's like, have fun. And getting the chickens, which I've been told is like a symbol of marriage. Of course it is. Giving them the chickens, getting them the red dates, doing all the things. But them sitting up in the tree. And then going back to Modao Zushi, him getting drunk and carving into the rock. It looks like the chicken and everything. Wanji was here. And Wushin's like, like, how can you do it so much? And he has leaves and feathers stuck in his hair. And Wushin's like, oh my God, Lanzan. I thought when he reached up to take the leaf off his head, he was going to take the forehead ribbon off, but we didn't get that. Again, waiting for the novel. And then them sitting up under the willow and calling back to Modazushi Q. It's so beautiful. And that's when Wushin's like, he realizes, he's like, wait. And we flash back, he's like, my name is Lan Yuan. And Sijui is my courtesy name. Lanzan gave me that name. And Sijui means longing to remember. Y'all were talking about in the comments a few episodes ago. Oh, buddy. And then, 13 years ago, you went and took Sijui and raised him. Oh, my God. I can't, y'all. Can't. So then, I'm assuming it happens differently in the novel and the audio drama because Jishin's showing up and telling him about the whips, the scars, and everything. I'm assuming it's more elaborate in the novel and audio drama. Can't wait to get to it, by the way. But, oh my God, it all makes sense now. He was defending Wushin back in the flashback that we got where he told him to go away. He was defending him, and he fought against his own clan members, and that was the no-no. And so he fought against 33 of his clan members, so he had 33 whips. Jeez. Oh my God. And he took them all. And then when the tiger amulet was destroyed, or after Wushin died, a single strike of the Land Clan's disciple whip is enough, discipline whip is enough to cause extreme pain. And you harmed 33 elders, so he suffered 33 strikes. And then, like, him bleeding. Oh my God. And after learning of your death, and he insisted on seeing a corpse. But see, in that moment, after learning of his death, we see the wine, like, being spilt, like the wine, like, bottles being thrown out. So we're assuming that he may have drank then. He dragged his heavily injured body back to the burial mounds to try to find your body. The night he came back, that's when he did the branding. Oh my gosh. So then, so Wushin goes to destroy the tiger amulet, and then Wanji shows up to help him. And they do it together. So then, we get the whole idea of justice prevailing and evil will be punished. And the gossipers are at it again, talking about Yao dying. You know, like you do. It's over for the Jin clan of Landling. And everything is going to change for them. And I think it's so funny that Fairy licking his hand at the end. That Fairy was Yao's gift to him. And he still has the dog, so that's interesting. Young Master Jin, the full moon gift. What can a little boy like Jinling do? So he gets the gift from his uncle, and that clan leader Zhang, he seemed to have taken a terrible blow and went into seclusion. He runs off, and he'll need some time to recover as well. And the head shaker Ni Huiseng, on the other hand, he handled the coffin sealing ceremony rather well. Imagine that! So I'm curious. I'm betting Huiseng takes over eventually as leader of all the clans. His change is impressive indeed, and the resentful energy is so strong in that area. Will they really be able to keep them sealed for 100 years? And powerful corpses have yet to be found, and the tiger amulet is still missing. And they say we'll be lucky to have 3 to 5 years of peace, but it's like, they're destroying the tiger amulet, so I bet that's going to help things a bit. And if Huiseng takes over, that'll be interesting. So they're setting things up to keep on going and moving forward. And then they're like, where's the healing patriarch and Lanzan? It's like, well, you know. So we go back to this. At first, the way they were talking, I thought it was a flashback at the beginning. So I wanted to pay attention to their dialogue just a little bit more. But he's like, trust me. Wushin says, I'll come back to you after I restore the tiger amulet. So I thought they did that already. I know what to do now. It won't be like what happened 13 years ago. So maybe this was a flashback. Maybe it was a flashback to before this episode started. And then, of course, Lil Apple takes it. Maybe this was a flashback. Because they did end up destroying it, didn't they? And then, of course, Wushin laughing. And then, here's the thing. They're at the Mountain of Healing, right? And I didn't know I wanted to see Wushin's parents so badly until this moment, but this warmed my heart because I wanted to pause it and just take it all in. But we had Wushin's mother and father and Wushin on their backs. And Wushin's mom, stumbles on the donkey, just like Little Apple. I love the head wrap she has, like the hat with the veil over it. It makes her look so mysterious. And she has the red ribbon, like Wushin does as the Yiling Patriarch. She has the red ribbon, but her hair is kind of up like Wanji, up in the little bun, the top knot bun. And she has like the white robes, kind of like Wanji a little bit. And then the dad grabs her hand to steady her, and Wushin puts the hand over the top of theirs. And he's in the Zhang clan, the Zhang clan robes, because he worked for Feng Mian at the time. He was a subordinate. And we see her, and she's so pretty. Like I see Wushin's eyes, like she has Wushin's eyes and lips. But then like his face too. But his eyes are not quite as... Wushin definitely has his mother's eyes, but kind of has the facial structure of his dad. But the funny thing about this whole scene is, and what Wushin remembers in that moment, and he puts his little baby Wushin puts his head up against his dad's, and they have their hands all together. In that moment, what you realize, and what Wushin realizes as he asks Wanji to take the rope, just like his father did, is establishing Wushin as, let's be honest, as the power bottom in this relationship. Wanji is definitely the top. But because in that moment, despite everything, Wushin is like his mother in that situation on top of Little Apple, and Wanji is like his dad in that situation. And that's why he asks him to hold the rope. He wants to picture himself in this moment just like them, as a couple walking together. And he's like, all we're missing is a little one. Oh my God. And Wanji's like, wait, what? And he's like, and Wushin's like, I said all we're missing is a little one. And then that's when he sees Sizhui. And he's like, speaking of which, here comes a little one. And it's their son, damn it. And the fact that he hugged them, and then he knows everything. And he gives them both a hug. He's like, I finally found you. And Ning told him everything. Yep. And he's like, you remembered. He's like, the spicy porridge, the spicy radish soup, him burying me and like watering me so I'll grow, the doll. I remembered them all. Oh, Sizhui. Oh, that got me. I was like, oh, it's their son. He's literally their son. And then Wanji just patting him on the back. He's like, I feel sad all of a sudden. Oh. And I'm happy too. It's like, oh. And then Wushin saying he's your disciple, so of course his arms are strong. And Wanji's like, well, you taught him too. And him saying, well, it's no wonder he turned out so handsome and capable. I'm like, yeah. It's like these two being the dads. Oh my God. And I love the Sizhui's like, he told me how to disguise erotic art as an ordinary book. And Wushin's like, let's just not talk about that anymore. How could I teach those things to a kid? And then he calls him Uncle Ning. This episode, it gave us everything that we could have wanted. And I like that Ning calls him Yuan. We're going to go bury the ashes of our clan leaders. And then Wushin finally figures out the song that was sung in the cave that Wanji won't let anyone else hear. And that's because it's the song that's how Wushin knew him by. And when he asks the name, he says Wangshen. Roll freaking credits. And the rabbits, the shot of the rabbits. And then Wanji smiling. And Wushin saying, I like it a lot. A good name. It's over. It's over, y'all. And then it just cuts out and then just stops, and yep, and that's the end. And we'll part ways with a song, but no matter how far apart we are, we'll meet again someday. I can't, y'all. I can't. This was such a perfect ending to the series. Like, I'm amazed at how far we've come from the start of the Donghua to this episode. total 180, like total different vibe, everything. It's amazing. I'm so floored. Yeah, yeah. But this was so perfect. I couldn't have asked. It's what I like about this ending is I probably couldn't have asked for a better ending. I say that, and at the same time, I wish there had been more reconciliation with Chang, and I wish Baby Ling had been able to act with Wushin. But what I like about it is that the series, some series when they wrap everything up, it's all in a nice, neat little bow. This leaves you hungry for more. It leaves you to want to you want to see Wushin go back and talk to Baby Ling. You want Wushin to go back and talk to Chang again. You want to find out what happens with Hui Sang. Does he become clan leader or not? Like, you want to see all these things happening, and the show doesn't give you that. It doesn't wrap everything up in a nice, neat little bow. It leaves some things open to interpret and some things open to assume that maybe they'll happen in the future. And even that last line, like, we'll meet again someday, it's assuming that whatever happens to Wushin and Wanji right now, they're going to be fine. They've got each other. And they have their little son, Sijui, which it's like, and Uncle Ning. They're going to be okay. But it leaves it open to interpretation of what's going to happen with the other characters and us going back to them. So, even though finding all that out about the scars and about the golden core and everything, the novel and the audio drama are so organized differently than the Donghua that I'm very curious to know how the audio drama is going to handle this story and how it's going to flesh it out and how it's going to go. Because when I left off, they were just getting the Yi City, but we hadn't even gotten into the winds. We hadn't even gotten into Sijui to Yan. We hadn't gotten into Ning yet. In the novel, we haven't even gotten into the events of season 1 and season 2. We haven't really even gotten into in the novel. It just like picks up at season 3. So I'm so curious when they planned this whole animated series out, the fact that they reorganized it the way they did, it's so fascinating. And so it'll be curious to see how the novel and audio drama flesh it out in its original context. That part's going to be interesting. And then all the Wang Shen bits in this season, but I'm ready to see it all fleshed out in the novel. Just a bit. But man, y'all. Yep. This was really good. This was amazing. So again, I don't feel bittersweet. We're not doing a live stream yet because I still got all the other stuff to get through. When we do a live stream for this series, it's going to be insanity, right? There'll be so much to talk about. But yeah, I don't feel sad. I felt like my heart is full right now. My heart is so full. And I kind of want to go start watching The Untamed right now. So I might have lunch first and then watch it. But oh my God. Yeah. This was really good. I'm so curious to know what y'all thought. If y'all are Donghua only, like I have been, up until this point of reading the novel, I really liked this. If you are a novel reader, I'm curious. Don't tell me what's been changed, because I want to find that out in the audio drama itself. People have sent me the full version of the novel, so I'm excited. I'll have that. And I've got the audio dramas saved from Sweetbee Subs, so I'm excited to watch and listen to all those. So it'll be fine. It'll be great. But yeah, I'm curious to know your thoughts down below. This was so good. So my heart is full. So yeah, what a great way to start Saturday. So I hope y'all have a wonderful week to come. Please stay safe, take care. And even though it's the end of the Donghua, there's still the audio drama, manhwa, novel, and The Untamed of Modao Zushi to come. So lots more content with Modao Zushi. Modao Zushi Mondays is not ending anytime soon. So in the meantime, I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care. And I'll be back again soon with more content of Modao Zushi. Bye.